Holy shit. He said what?
Everybody trying to be a victim. What's this girl, Meghan Markle? The biggest addiction in America is attention. We are addicted to attention. Seemed like a nice lady, just complaining. I was like, didn't she hit the light skin lottery and still going on complaining?
It sounds fake.
Oprah, they're so racist. They wanted to know how brown the baby's gonna be. I'm like, that's not racist. Because even black people want to know.
It's just so disgusting.
It started like any other comedy special. The lights dimmed, the crowd buzzed, and Chris Rock stepped onto the Netflix stage with that familiar smirk.
They're so racist, they're so racist. Some of the she went through was not racism. It was just some in-law shit. Because she's complaining. I'm like, what the is she talking about?
Woof.
The one that said he was about to cause trouble. But nobody expected what came next. Because this wasn't just another night of jokes. This was a live roast. And the target was none other than Meghan Markle.
That she was hunting for a man in England. She wanted wealth and she wanted fame. And she targeted Harry.
What?
For months, the royal couple had been the talk of the world. Interviews, documentaries, tears, and endless debates.
The Duchess of Sussex shared a photo of herself cuddling her daughter on Instagram and a never-before-seen picture from her birth.
It's really quite sad.
But when Chris Rock grabbed the mic that night, he didn't come to sympathize. He came to set the record straight. The crowd could already feel it. That tension, that mix of laughter and disbelief.
It's the royal family! They're the original racists!
Every time Rock leaned into the mic. And when he started talking about the royal family and Meghan's struggles, you could hear people gasping between laughs because Rock wasn't holding back. He was saying what millions were thinking out loud.
The f*** is she talking about? I didn't know. That's like marrying into the Budweiser family and going, they drink a lot.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer.
What began as comedy quickly turned into one of the boldest cultural moments of the year because this wasn't just Chris Rock doing stand-up. It was a takedown, and by the time the crowd was on their feet, laughing and shouting, Meghan Markle's image, carefully crafted for years, was suddenly on fire. But how did a single comedy bit turn into a global reaction? And why did people say Chris Rock didn't just roast Meghan, he exposed her? That's where this story really begins.
Gone on Oprah, I didn't know. I had no idea how racist they were. It's the royal family. You didn't Google these motherfuckers?
Have you ever seen that video? No. Pull that video up, because it's one of my favorites.
Before he even mentioned Meghan Markle's name, Chris Rock was already setting the trap, and the crowd didn't even know it yet. He started with one of his most biting observations. Everyone wants to be a victim these days. The audience laughed, but there was a sting underneath it, because he wasn't joking about petty complaints or online drama.
This is me eating sushi. Like me. This is me 25 years ago when I was hot. Like me. Oh, it's fucking sad.
He was talking about a world obsessed with sympathy, where fame and victimhood started to look like the same thing. Rock's new special, Selective Outrage, wasn't just another Netflix comedy hour. It was him unloading, years after the Will Smith slap, years after staying silent, finally ready to say what he really thought about fame, cancel culture, and double standards. And when he said, "I play victims too," you know what they get? Nothing. The audience exploded with laughter, but they also knew he was just getting warmed up. Then the setup turned sharp. Rock leaned in and said he was tired of selective outrage.
Acting all dumb like she don't know nothing.
People choosing what to be offended by, depending on who's involved. It was a message aimed at Hollywood, social media, and every public figure who thrived off being wronged. And that's when the mood shifted, because everyone watching, both in the theater and at home, could sense where this was going. There was one name that fit that description perfectly, and he hadn't said it yet. The laughter built like thunder until Rock finally dropped it. Everybody acting like she's been treated unfairly. She married into the royal family. The crowd went wild. Meghan Markle had officially entered the ring. But that was just the beginning, because what Rock said next would have half the world laughing and the other half furious.
Easiest way to get attention is to be a victim.
The moment Chris Rock said Meghan's name, the energy in the room shifted. Laughter mixed with disbelief, like everyone realized they were watching a cultural line being crossed in real time.
And this is sweet. Meghan Markle said she has a finger they can use if they need it.
Rock didn't tiptoe around it. He went straight for the heart of her story. That long-running narrative of being misunderstood, mistreated, and blindsided by royal tradition.
Meghan Markle, the only thing she found was a rich, famous husband.
He started with that now infamous line. She's acting all shocked about how racist the royal family was. Like, girl, you didn't Google them? The crowd erupted. Rock's timing was flawless. The punchline hit so hard because it cut straight through the image Meghan had built. He wasn't mocking her pain. He was mocking the performance of it.
Who's filming this?
The way she turned royal life into a documentary, an interview, and now a global brand. Then came the knockout. They're the original racists. They invented colonialism. The laughter grew louder, wilder. People were clapping, shouting, half in disbelief that he actually said it.
The nearest thing Meghan Markle ever had to $1 billion idea was marrying a prince.
But Rock wasn't just roasting Meghan. He was using her as a symbol, a mirror for how modern fame feeds on outrage, on playing the victim while standing on a pedestal. And the brilliance of it, every line walked a razor's edge, funny enough to make the crowd scream, sharp enough to make headlines.
In the world, I don't know anybody that's worked as hard as you.
I don't know, I'm just doing my best.
Within minutes, clips of that segment were all over TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, with fans calling it the roast of the decade. For some, it was pure comedy. For others, it was brutal truth disguised as a joke. But either way, Chris Rock had done what no royal critic, journalist, or commentator could. He made the entire world laugh at Meghan Markle, and that laughter would echo far beyond Netflix, because while millions were laughing, others were furious. And that reaction, that split, was exactly what made this moment explode.
Another big revelation was that Meghan said that she and Harry actually got married 3 days before the royal wedding.
The moment that Netflix special hit the internet, it was chaos. Not the quiet kind, but the viral kind that takes over every feed, every headline, every conversation. Within hours, clips of Chris Rock's Meghan Markle roast were everywhere. TikTok stitched it, Twitter debated it, YouTube channels broke it down frame by frame. What started as a joke on stage had turned into a global event. The crowd inside the theater had already lost it, but online it spread like wildfire.
Best way to have a snack is to take the snack out of one bag and then move them into another bag, even though this bag already has a label on it. Tap water! My name is Megan Sussex now.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
Some called Rock the only comedian brave enough to say what everyone's been thinking. Others accused him of punching down, of mocking a woman who'd already suffered enough. The internet split in two, half cheering, half clutching their pearls, and the debate only made it bigger. News outlets jumped in. The Daily Mail called it a brutal takedown. Variety labeled it unapologetic comedy at its finest. And over on social media, the hashtag Chris Rock was right started trending.
Oh my God, that hat. Oh God, he's so hot. Look at him. She bagged a fox.
It's really quite sad.
It wasn't just a comedy bit anymore. It was a statement, a rallying cry against performative victimhood. But not everyone was laughing. Reports claimed people close to Meghan and Harry were stunned by the jokes, calling them disrespectful and deeply hurtful. Others hinted that Meghan felt targeted all over again. Yet the more she tried to stay quiet, the louder the internet got. Chris Rock didn't respond. He didn't need to. The special spoke for itself. Every replay, every reaction, every meme kept his words alive, turning a 10-minute comedy segment into a cultural moment no one could ignore. Because this wasn't just about Meghan Markle anymore. It had become something much bigger, a turning point in how people viewed her and the story she'd spent years trying to control. And soon, the whole world would join in, not to defend her, but to mock her. Within days, the jokes weren't just trending, they were everywhere. Talk shows replayed the bit on loop. British tabloids tabloids called it revenge by laughter, and social media turned Meghan's face into a meme factory. From London to Los Angeles, everyone had an opinion, and for once, the world seemed to agree on one thing. Chris Rock had stolen the spotlight right out from under the royals. Even comedians and celebrities started chiming in, praising Rock for saying what others were too afraid to touch. Meanwhile, Meghan's supporters scrambled to do damage control, calling the jokes cruel and unnecessary. But it didn't matter. The internet had already chosen its side, and laughter was winning. In just a few minutes of comedy, Rock had done what years of headlines couldn't. He flipped the public's perception. Meghan wasn't the untouchable royal rebel anymore. She was the punchline everyone was quoting. And once that shift happened, there was no going back. What came next was brutal. Overnight, Meghan Markle stopped being a symbol of defiance and became a symbol of irony. The internet turned her story, once emotional, polished, and carefully managed, into a global inside joke. Every clip from the Oprah interview, every emotional pause, every royal headline got repurposed into memes, edits, and punchlines. It wasn't just laughter, it was mockery on repeat. People captioned Rock's lines over footage of Meghan's interviews, remixing his "you didn't Google them" bit into TikTok trends that spread like wildfire. Even mainstream pages that once defended her started posting side-by-side edits, comparing her Netflix docuseries to the very jokes that tore it apart. And the worst part, she couldn't respond. Anything she said, any interview, any statement would only feed the cycle. Silence became her only option, but even that made her look guilty to some, fragile to others. In the span of one weekend, Meghan went from a victim of the media to a product of it. She wasn't controlling the story anymore. The story was controlling her. But while the internet was busy laughing, Chris Rock's message was getting clearer and deeper than anyone first realized. Beneath the laughs and viral clips, there was something deeper hiding in Chris Rock's words. His special wasn't just about Meghan Markle. She was the example, not the point. What Rock really exposed was the modern obsession with victimhood, how fame, sympathy, and outrage had started to blur together. He was calling out a culture where people compete over who's been hurt the most, where every scandal turns into a spotlight. And in that world, Meghan's story fit perfectly. Not because she made it up, but because it was built for attention. Rock held up a mirror and said what few dared to, that maybe, just maybe, not every public struggle is meant to be televised. It wasn't cruelty, it was commentary. A comedian using truth as his weapon. And while the internet focused on the punchlines, the real message slipped right past them. Rock wasn't mocking Meghan alone. He was mocking all of us. The audience, the clicks, the headlines, the endless cycle of outrage that we feed, then forget. Because in the end, Chris Rock didn't just roast a duchess. He exposed the system that made her untouchable and then tore it apart with laughter. In the end, it wasn't the tabloids, the palace, or even the haters that broke Meghan Markle's image. It was the laughter. A wave of jokes so sharp they cut deeper than any headline ever could. Chris Rock may have struck the first blow, but what followed was an avalanche, one that turned a global fairy tale into a never-ending punchline. Because here's the thing about comedy. Once the world starts laughing at you, it's almost impossible to make them stop. Every appearance, every quote, every comeback attempt, it all echoes through the memory of that one night on stage. Rock didn't destroy Meghan with hate. He did it with truth, timing, and a microphone. And that's what made it so lethal. His special didn't just roast a person, it rewrote a narrative. It reminded the world that no matter how carefully someone crafts their image, all it takes is one well-aimed joke to expose what's underneath. So when the lights went down and the audience walked out, one thing was clear: the Duchess wasn't untouchable anymore. She'd become something else. A story, a symbol, and the punchline that no PR team could ever silence. If you thought that roast was wild, wait until you see what happened next. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the full breakdown of Meghan and Harry's most shocking moments.